Hello, this is Ray L. Edwards from webcopywriting.com, and here you have a copy of my main website that I use for recruiting copywriting clients, and just a quick scroll through to look at some of the testimonials that I've received from my clients as means of an introduction and background. Here is a website that I did for Dr. Brad Kruger, and his website increased 10 times in sale, and that's not an exaggeration. And here is Michael Fortin from his Popular Copywriters Board recommending my copy, www.lawncarebusiness.com, and saying this was a great copy, and recommending the other members of the board to read this copy. I've done some copywriting as well too for well-known internet marketer Ewan Shear, and here his testimonial says, "Hi Ray, I've got to say I'm blown away by the killer copy that you did for me for some of my site. You've got a way of getting the message across to the prospect and convincing them to take action." Here is another client of mine. This is Richard Arbin from Ontario, and I've done some work for him as well too, with real spectacular results. And Richard is also a very great marketer. Here's another testimonial. Here is Internet MLM Success, run by Dagan Smith. I did a sales letter for him, and within the first week of launch he made over $21,000 in sales just from that one letter alone. Needless to say, Dagan is now a copywriting client for life, you can say. Here is Craig Descory, and over a year ago I did one sales letter for him. He wasn't doing very well in terms of his sales, and now his sales has increased by over 1,600%, which seems incredible, but that is also quite true. Okay, but today we're not going to be looking at this website. Today what I want us to take a look at is a sales letter that I wrote over 3-4 years ago, and this sales letter is one of my favorite, not only because it is one of the first online sales letter that I wrote, but also because it has done over $50,000 in sales for me personally, and I'm sure it has done over $100,000 in sales for 25 other resales rights holders that I have for this particular product. Now, I thought it best therefore then that since this sales letter has done over 15% in conversion from untargeted traffic, and in fact on one of the boards, I think it was Michael Green board, there was one marketer there who commented on this sales letter and says that this sales letter sold like water in the Sahara Desert. And in fact, this sales letter is one of the most compelling that I've ever written, and I think I wrote this sales letter in one sitting, whereas I have made changes, doing different tests to see what works and what doesn't work, and that is one of the reasons why I would like to review this sales letter again. And it is because it is one of my guinea pigs. In other words, then this is one of the sales letters where I've made changes to the headlines, I've made changes, I've used it with a header and without a header, I've changed the font, I've used every other copywriting trick in the book that I can use, and I've watched the sales as they go up and down. And so it is a sales letter that has come through a lot of grinding in the mill, and in that respect it is one of the sales letters I think that I can show you a lot of copywriting principles from. Okay, now first let's start off from the top, and that is regard to the header graphic. What I want to do is that I want to take the letter point by point, and we are going to be looking at some of the copywriting technique and strategies that I use in this letter. Now at first I used the header graphics, and here you have the header graphics here. And there was one time when John Reese, I think it was, a well-known and well-respected marketer online, said that he had run some tests and found out that it was better not to use a header because your conversion would be much higher. On some letters I've used headers, on other letters I've not used any header. What I've found is that in this particular case, using the header graphic actually increased my sales. Now, I would like to propose why sometimes a header can make a difference, and why sometimes the header can actually reduce your sales, and at other times it can maybe make no change or boost your sales. What I find in my copywriting career and in my own test that I've done is that if you have a header graphic just to have a header graphic, it's likely that the header graphics, and especially if it is a bandwidth hungry graphic, in other words, then if the header graphic is too huge in terms of the size, the file size, and it takes a long time to load, then it can take your page also a long time to load, and people click away very easily online. But what I find is that with this kind of a header graphic where there's a sales message, and in this case I have a sales message in the header graphic where it starts here and says the no-click traffic secret is the name of the book. Secret is a powerful word. And here I have a tagline: the easy, free, automatic, and exponential web traffic system reveal. So in fact, my header graphic not only serve as just being a graphic or a picture or something to add to the aesthetic appeal of the page, but the header graphic is also contains, you can say, like a pre-headline. In fact, it can stand on its own as a headline. So I found that when I remove this graphic, that the conversion went down, and when I place the graphic back in, my conversion bumped back up. So in this case, I found that the header graphic has been beneficial to me. Now here we have the pre-headline. Says, here's a super traffic secret that I ran into by sheer accident, never before revealed, and now it can be yours. What I found is that when I use the pre-headline, and also when I use the highlighting, the yellow highlighting here, it draws the reader right into my headline. In other words, then the person coming to the website, they may or may not read the header graphic, but then the highlighting here, and I'll speak a little bit further on about highlighting and emphasizing in your sales letter. I found out that when I use a pre-head and I've highlighted the pre-head, that it also have bumped up the sales. I guess it's a kind of a attention grabber. Now, while I'm on that, let me just speaking about an attention grabber, let me just speak a bit about the color choices that I've used here. Now, here I have yellow highlighting. I have red for the headline, which online is the best color that you can use for your headline. Not only do I use red for the headline, but I also use red for the the sub headlines as well. Okay, as you can see as I scroll through here, I use red for the sub headlines as well. Okay, and but I've used different background colors. Okay, I've used different background colors, and I've found that this deep navy blue is the best color in terms of conversion rate. It's not distracting. I guess it's relaxing. I don't know, but I've used no background at all. I've used a gray background. I've used different color background. I've used pattern background, but I find just a plain solid blue background works best. And if you remember as well too, you remember that even my other sales letter, okay, is not changing here. Even my other sales letter as well too, that I showed you just a while ago, also uses the same background as well too. Okay, so that's for the background. So this combination of color I find is very is about the best in terms of conversion rate that I've gotten, where I've used yellow highlighting. I've used the red font color, and also the dark blue background. Somehow that combination works quite well. Okay, now before I go any further into the letter itself, let me just speak a little about the how I planned out the copy. In this case, first you need to realize that there are 5 essentials to any kind of a great copy. The number 1 is clarity. Number 2 is flow. Then number 3 is passion. Number 4 is believability, and finally there is the close where you're going to ask for the sale. Now, to go into all the these different aspects, is a little beyond the scope of this video, but we are going to be seeing a lot of these things as I continue to look at the different techniques that I use in this particular copy. So I will not go into any detail with them now, because they are going to be illustrated as we dig into the letter and we pull this letter apart to see why the letter has done so well. But simply, clarity means that whatever you're going to be saying, make sure that it's specific, make sure that it is very clear, there's no ambiguity at all, and you're shooting like a bullet between the eyes. You got to say what you mean and mean what you say. Your message has to be clear. There's just no option here. Then there's the flow. Now, as a copywriter, I've done critique for many of my clients, and I find that there are a lot of times where a client might go to a particular website and they might look at the copy of that website and they like the style, they like the way in which the person writes, and so they get the different section of their letter right. But when you read through the entire letter, there isn't any particular flow at all. In other words, then every letter must have a particular logical progression. Okay, and different copywriters have their different analogies that they use in order to illustrate this particular flow. I think it's Joe Sugarman who referred to it as the slippery slide. But the important thing about it is just the same way in which when you were in high school you had to write an essay, and the teacher would tell you start with the introduction and then you go to the body and then you have a conclusion. It's the same way as well for any sales message. It means therefore then every time that you're going to start writing a sales letter, you must have a particular structure for the sales letter in mind. You just cannot mention anything anywhere and hope that it would work. It's the same thing as well for a movie. And one of the things that I do is, especially when I rent a DVD or rent a movie, I often take time to look at the extras on the video, where you have the producer or the writer and the director might be giving commentary on the movie itself. And I find it very, very beneficial in the sense where he would tell you why he started the movie in this way, why he included this scene, why he cut out this scene. And it's the same thing that you have to do when you're considering writing your sales letter as well too. Many times there are a lot of things that you like to mention in the sales letter, but then by the time you start reading it, you realize, okay, this particular paragraph breaks the flow. So it's best to cut out this paragraph. And even though you might have spent a lot of time in writing that paragraph or writing that section, because you find that it doesn't add to the bottom line of your sales letter, the aim of your sales letter, which is to get the sale, then you just have to close your eyes and cut that section out. So not only must each section be important, but also there must be a particular flow. And of course, the most important flow that we know about from copy is following the AIDA formula, which is the A stands for attention, get the attention of the prospect, then build up the interest, then the desire, and then finally A refers to getting action from the client. Even Joe Sugarman, in his book Advertising Secrets of the Written Word, he shows a particular, on page 96, he shows a particular flow where you start with he starts with interest and excitement, then you build drama, then you say why your product is different, then you show how to play, you show the unique features, you justify the purchase, you show the lasting value of the product, you show what kind of a service you can provide for the product. In other words, then you answer the after purchase question the individual might have, and then finally ask for the order. And you can find that in Advertising Secrets of the Written Word by Joe Sugarman and